It's now been 4 nights that Sweden's capital has been subjected to riots by hundreds of dissatisfied youths. The rioting followed the killing of a man wielding a machete and is taking place among immigrant suburbs. If you read the articles, the riots are blamed on anger, racism, and an increasingly divided society. It's the haves versus the have-nots, a refrain often heard even from our own president. This anger is linked to the recent arrival of asylum seekers, but this resentment cannot be solely blamed on immigration. For all countries have had immigration with no rioting. This unrest arises from an internal cancer, an erosion of a country's exceptionalism called patriotism, which once encouraged a sense of belonging among immigrants. Once you no longer believe you're great, then neither do they, and humans smell weakness like sharks sense blood. This is the new Stockholm Syndrome. Not simply embracing your captors, but sacrificing your world with nothing but rage to replace it. See the brutal terror killing in England. Now to assimilate is a sign of weakness. For some, a separate identity takes precedence over unity. The melting pot has become an angry buffet. Side by side, we eye each other and wonder why he has more than me. This thinking flows from the top. This is not a good place to be, but it's where we are headed, or worse, beheaded.
Nice.
Bob, you made a point last night that stuck with me. When people move from places that aren't very good, they should seem happy, or at least welcome the challenge that comes with moving to a better place, a place where there's more opportunity. But what we're seeing now is a different kind.
Well, the interesting thing about this, the influx of people from other countries, is they tend to stay together in communities,
right?
And their own resentment sort of builds. What this is going to have, I think, you watch in the next 4 or 5 years, the ascendancy in Europe particularly of the anti-immigration groups that have been getting stronger and stronger politically. They've had them in Germany, they've had them in Sweden. Matter of fact, they've elected some people to some of the parliaments there. So I think that, but in our own country, the question I raise is, what does this do to the immigration bill? The only thing I think Obama's got left is an immigration bill. What was hanging on that was the Republicans needed it. I'm not so sure now. I mean, I think maybe it survives, but it's a testament. Look, you make a decision to let people come into your country. It used to be that it made it stronger. Now it makes it weaker.
Yeah, KG, you immigrated from Venus.
Yes,
California. From California, actually, from San Francisco. Does this kind of frighten you?
I like Venus.
Do you see this spreading?
Listen, they're reaping what they have sown. When you look at the problem, it's not unique to Sweden. You're seeing it in the UK. You're seeing it in France, because liberal immigration policies and a quest and thirst for multiculturalism has produced this very result. You don't see people like Angela Merkel in Germany having this type of problem because they're much more strict about who they let. I'm sorry to tell you, but when you look at the empirical evidence and the facts, it's there.
Yeah.
This is the problem, and you're seeing it across, in countries that are having these liberal policies, and you really need to be more certain about who you're letting in, especially then when it comes to extended families. There's loopholes for people who want to do harm to be able to get in. Look what happened to us with Boston.
It's not about, let's cut down the chase. It's not about liberal policies. It's about Muslims. I mean, that's what we're talking about here.
Whose policy is that?
Well, I mean, that's what we're really talking about here. Who were the rioters in the last 4 nights? It was mostly young Muslim immigrants, right, or people who were born in London. The same thing. This is a part and parcel of a bigger picture having to do with the question of the Muslim religion versus.
I agree with that, but who's deciding that this is a good policy? Who is making it loose, and then you're allowing people to come in that want to do a country harm?
I don't know, Eric. I think it's because we believe that assimilation is rude to an incoming culture, right?
There's assimilation and there's radicalization. What happens is the environments or groups or countries or governments that want to be more diverse and they want to have freer, more open borders, they look for the assimilation, but the radicals look for those same groups, those same countries, those same governments, and say, hey, here's a good opportunity. Yeah. We have an opportunity to go in on these, where they have open borders like this, and radicalize a certain percentage of the population, and they've achieved their goals. So, Bob, to your answer, yes, I think it is the more liberal countries and governments that allow more people in, and the radical Islamists say, that's where we need to target because that's where we're going to
Water takes the path of least resistance. So why wouldn't you go to a country that has a liberal immigration policy than trying to get into a tough...
I think most of those countries where people have come in, they've been fine and they've added to society and they've assimilated fine.
I think there's something different going on here. Dana, last word.
My only word?
Yes, and it better be a good one. Don't say Jasper.
The Swedish are a very generous people. They love their country, and they were willing to share it with people. It's not just the immigration policy that's liberal. It's the benefits that come with getting to the country. And what I think one of the things they have to do is if you commit a crime, then boom, your family not allowed in. Because that starts to have an effect. Assimilation has to be a two-way street. There's work that we have to do when people want to come into our country to help them get here, but you can't not assimilate into the country and then be angry about it and put people's cars on fire. Problem is, it used to be that they wanted to get a car like yours. Now they want your car. And so something radical has to happen. I don't know if the Swedish are going to do it yet, but they're going to be forced into a situation of reducing those benefits.
All right, we've got to take a break. That was more than one word, but they were all good words,
Thank you.
I have to say.
It was worth it.
I kind of zoned out there. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Ahead on the 5.
You and Morgan Freeman.
Problem.